Good.
5:30, we will call the Shoreline Fire Department RFA meeting for November 6th, 2025 to order. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any public comment? Doug, did you have anything you want to say?
Hello and good evening. I just wanted to briefly talk. I saw on your agenda today that you'll be discussing the post-employment medical benefit resolution. Just wanted to make sure that you guys knew the impact of the proposal in there is to end the post-employment medical benefit. And that's a benefit that not only uniform members get, but chief bargaining members, non-uniform members, currently both basically non-represented admin staff, and then also the executive chief level have also been receiving that too. So with the removal of that program, it definitely is a drawback to the Shoreline Fire Department and impacts ability for people to retire at an earlier age. The employees give notice ahead of time so the department can help plan for those retirees, and there's a financial benefit associated with that, especially with our medics who, if the department doesn't know ahead of time that they're going to be retiring, then there's actually there could be quite a bit of financial impact. Back around 2022, when Shoreline and North Shore were coming together, I talked to the Shoreline board and reviewed some of those financial impacts that were associated with that. I feel like there's not necessarily the need for that. I believe Chief Cowan was going to provide you more information at that time, so I'm assuming that that had happened. But thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Doug. All right, consideration of the agenda, Chief.
The only consideration I would put is if you want to move into executive session to talk about the chief officer CPA, then we could add that at that time. It's up to the board.
If possible.
Yeah.
Anything else, anybody? Rescheduling January 1st meeting? Oh, that's only on projections. Oh, that's way down there. Running business. Got it. Okay, let's do approval of past minutes from October 16th, 2025. Any changes or amendments? Hearing none, we'll move on to instrument houses, October 30th, 2025. And from there. Okay, moving on, and September 3rd, 2025. Or September. It's November. It's stuck on September. Okay. Correspondence. Looks like we've got a real nice thank you letter here from our Ridgecrest Halloween Parade Committee. That's if you're able to attend. Impact mitigation fees. I think you're up.
Hey, Kim.
Yeah.
I don't know where the microphone's located for this meeting, but the audio is just barely audible on Zoom.
Okay.
that better?
Is that better, Eric?
That is better, thank you.
All right, you're up.
Okay, I'll make this quick, because it looks like you guys have a packed agenda, so I won't spend too much time on this. This is what you guys are gonna be looking for at the top of your list. This is our handout for the current collection for fire impact fees. In addition to the impact fees, we're also added the permit fees that we collect and the operational permit fees, with total bottom. October, November, December, those are probably gonna remain blank. We don't have any current projects that we expect to be collecting fire impact fees anytime the rest of this year. So that total at the bottom is probably gonna be what you're gonna see come January 2026. We will receive the totals for October, November, December for any additional fire permit fees and operational permit fees. So the next meeting that we do this, we'll have the running total for October. If you flip over, you'll see some quite a few changes to this. There's a lot of projects. I spent a lot of time with the city, Shoreline, and the city of Kenmore. Kenmore's not on here, but there's a lot of projects that have dropped off over the last year and a half. A lot of the projects were on a holding pattern. Most of those that were down in the red have now disappeared. Those are dead projects. They may come back someday, but that's just kind of the time frame that we're in with planning and development. The projects in yellow are still projects that are in some phase of waiting for customer info, which basically means that they're on hold. So these are all still projected projects that we may see over the next 2 to 3 years. Can't give you an exact time frame, but that's where we're at right now. And then the top portion, which is the green, those are the 2 active projects that we have within the city of Shoreline. The impact fees have already been redeemed from those projects, so we took all the projects that we've had sitting up there for a while. Those have all been final. Those projects are all lined up, right? So I don't want to have that sitting up there to kind of confuse you guys. So these are just we're going to leave that any projects that are currently active that we have not final, they're going to remain in that top green portion. And that is what I have for you guys as far as impact. So the land is still been retained by the company that bought the property, but they lost their investment on doing the work. So it's not a dead project, it's just on hold. And what the city likes to use the term is with those kinds of projects is that they're on hold indefinitely, which just means that they don't have any plan to move forward. So until they hear something, they're just going to assume that it's going to sit until somebody comes in and wants to develop it. The next portion of the report is just a quick report on what we've been doing in the fire marshal's office. Again, going over the commercial projects, only highlighting the cities that actually have proposed or planned projects that are going to be coming up. So we have 2 active projects in the city of Shoreline, both of which are, one is very close to final here within the next 3 to 4 weeks, which will leave us just with 1 other active commercial project. City of Kenmore has 3 active projects. We have proposed 13 projects in the pipeline at some point in time within the city of Shoreline. We just don't know when. And the city of Kenmore has 4 proposed commercial from the next 1 to 2 years. So definite slowdown in development. There's been a huge shift that's gone towards middle housing. That's what we're doing right now. And that comes from the state level. So the state has told all the counties that you guys need to do more middle housing and not do so much of the multi-family. I've also reached out to the sprinkler friends that we have and partners that we work with, and they're telling me that although they've had a lot of layoffs, their project pipeline down like 2 years from now is starting to fill up. So I've been told that we're going to see a comeback probably anywhere from the early stage of 2027 to mid 2027. So we'll see a big pickup again.
Of what?
Of commercial.
Nothing really specific, but just commercial in general.
Yep.
Okay. Did you see the notice on I got it forwarded to Press that they're rezoning the DNR area to community business?
maybe not see that.
Okay, I just got it like late this afternoon, like a couple hours.
Hey, Chief,
Yeah,
a couple things. One, the audio is still kind of difficult, but the other is, I'm looking at the packet that was sent out, and I saw a portion of what Ryan's talking about, but I don't see all of what he's talking about. Is there a document you can share? Or is it just a document that he passed out that was not in the packet?
the document I'm looking at is in the packet.
It's on our quarterly report. It looks like, one of our regular reports, Eric.
Should have been sent to you. Sorry, I can check on it.
Hey, Commissioner Admin, I'm looking at the electronic version that Beatrice sent out.
Yeah,
It starts with, it's a little out of order in the packet from what Ryan went through. So it might be higher up in the sort of the beginning of it. Like he started like the third document in this section. But there's a report above that.
okay, I got it. And it's, I want to make sure we have the right report. The report I'm looking at says board meeting date, July 24th.
Oh.
I can share
My
the
apologies.
document.
That's what,
That's the right one.
That's the right one, wrong date. My apologies.
Eric, is the audio better?
I could, yeah, I mean, it's a little, it's
For you,
just,
because you're right next to the mic.
I'm kind of glad that I'm happen to be doing Zoom right now because I can tell that we probably need a microphone upgrade.
If he can hear me from here, you guys.
Because I can keep changing the setting.
Is it sensitivity setting or is it?
Chief Hochstein sounds pretty good on the mic, actually.
There you go. Everybody use your firefighter voice.
Well,
I don't remember what that
is. Just saying.
It's just trying to speak up and project.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So the Sears project is a multi-phase project, and we've already gone through pre-app for phase one. So phase one is 2 large multi-family buildings, and we might see that within the next 1.5 to 2 years. As far as a project start date, but we don't ever get hard timeframes on when that's going to happen. Typically, most projects, when we see pre-app, we won't see that project for about 18 months, and then we'll start to see some movement on that. But yes, that's a multi-year project. Last I was told, they were talking between 15 to 20 years before that whole site is fully developed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's slated to be developed as a multi-building development with parks and retail and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, basically mirroring what they did at downtown Kirkland and downtown Redmond. That whole site, all the way up to the DOT building, is going to be developed, and that's still planned to go forward. Okay, so moving on, the next little bits of information regarding inspections. So this is just our annual fire life safety inspections. So far this year, we've completed 1,349 inspections across all the cities that we serve. Just a little breakdown on the DFMs, the deputy fire marshals who've done those inspections, as well as our engine company crews. We put a lot of emphasis on our fire system compliance, so that's all the buildings that have a fire system, fire alarm, sprinkler. And we've been working to bring our compliance numbers up. So currently we're sitting at 86, just a little over 86% compliant systems. We're trying to get to 90 before the end of the year. And just for some context, most jurisdictions don't get anywhere near that for compliance. They struggle to be even above 50%. So it's something that we can be proud of as a department, that we have a fire marshal's office division that actively is going out and maintaining all the fire systems in the buildings. So we've had a drop of 3.37% since the last time we had a meeting going over these numbers. So we're trending in the right direction. Fire investigations, we had an additional 14 origin cause fire investigations since our last meeting. So right now we're at 38 for the year, which is trending pretty close to what we were doing last year for a number of fires. And I know these aren't total number of fires, these are just fires that we had fire investigators actually do an origin cause fire. If you guys are interested in me printing out the reports quarterly for the types of fires that we're seeing, I can surely do that for you. I have a report that comes to me every 30 days, and we can break that down if you guys are interested in that. I was on that. Okay. Lastly, we have a couple more things. The PDO report. So Michelle has been continuing to be impactful throughout City of Shoreline, Lake Forest Park, and more through multiple community engagement events, safety talks. A lot of this takes a lot of time and effort, and it shows our dedication to the citizens that we serve, that we're out there trying to make contact and provide education to all the different folks throughout the cities. Of course, this is not possible without a lot of help from our crews as well, and the deputy fire marshals, they come in on their off time to help Michelle out because we have a large area that we serve, and there's a lot of folks that we have to turn away because we just don't have enough people and resources to do the education we'd like to do. So then there's just like a little quick snapshot for you guys to go through all the various things that Michelle and others have worked on. Car seat checks, CPR classes, fire safety talks, lots of community events, classes and different meetings throughout the cities, educational conferences that Michelle has attended, and then the PIO emergency responses that she goes to. She does a lot of coordination when we have our fires to go and work with Red Cross and deal with the news crews and get our social media information out to the public.
So this is just within the last quarter.
Correct. And then when we have our next meeting, I can give you guys a 2025 annual shot of summary that we've done it all the way up this whole year. Lastly, some of the stuff I've been working on. So I've completed all of our fire system standards are now up on our website. This is all information that is for our contractors so that they have a clear understanding of our fire code that we follow, as well as our specific shoreline fire standards. That's all on our prevention page. I've also updated all the fire permit conditions that we send over to the city with each of the permits that we send out. This is again important to the contractors so that they know what our requirements are. These are all things that we've never had before, but as our department and our division has grown, as well as just the influx of buildings we've had, it was important for us to make a lot of these changes because it helps assist the cities that we serve in creating a smooth process for developers, for contractors. So trying to bring our processes and our fire marshal's office division in line with some of the other bigger cities within our area. I've also started to work on creating procedures within our division. We haven't had a lot of procedural development over the years. Again, because the division has grown, we've added more staff, and it's important that and as we grow into an RFA, we want to make sure that we're creating consistency across our marshal's office. So we've been working continuously on that. And of course, this will be extremely important if we end up, inviting other cities into our RFA. So trying to create a lot of consistencies. And as I said, a lot of emphasis has been put on the compliance engine. And just a little bit more on that. That's super helpful for us as a department when WSRB comes in here and does our rating, which I really not in 35 years. As we continue to improve on things like this, and it's going to help keep our rating at its current level, or even drop it a little bit lower. Planning for goals for 2026. So always looking to improve our communication within our division, streamline our processes. We're continuing to work with the city of Kenmore, Lake Forest Park, and the city of Shoreline on our permit review processes. All of those cities are going through their own process improvements, just to try and streamline things, make things easier for developers and contractors. And so we're kind of moving in line with them to try and do the same thing within our own division. And then And with the fire code cycles coming up, so that'll be adopted in July of 2027. So all of the jurisdictions that we work with in Butte County, we're really pushing to work on aligning our codes across the jurisdictions as best we can. This is also super important for us because as we become an RFA and we grow and work within multiple cities, it's imperative that my job is to work with the city councils and building officials to try and align our fire codes and our municipal codes. Some of that may include trying to get sprinkler ordinances passed. So Shoreline has one, Kenmore has one, Bonneville does not, and Lake Forest Park does not. So those are lofty goals, but if we can try and get that across the board, it makes this a much more effective fire marshal's office. Any questions?
I did want to add something to the conversation because there was a question that came up about the impact fees and changes in the state law. You remember I want to say Steve? Anyway, somebody from the city approached me and asked, if we were going to update our impact fee program to make it more per square foot, which is what it's a requirement from the state. Over this last weekend and earlier parts of this week, I worked with our consultant that we used originally, and I asked him for help in changing it and all this, and I've updated the residential fee schedule to 3 different levels. I've given that to the city to ensure that they're happy with it too. I will share it with you, Ryan. I should have sent it to you too, but I've sent it back to the city to consider and adopt. Effective as soon as they're good to go. But basically, the structure is more per square foot. It changes. The per square foot is higher for the smaller properties. Meaning, a lot of this is motivated by the ADUs and basically having multiple residential properties on the same parcel. And so the per square foot is actually higher for a smaller residential dwelling. It's about the same as what we would have normal for an average size, and it actually goes up again. So it kind of goes up, down, and up again for higher residential size dwellings. I'll share it with you as soon as it's approved. Then we're good to go and all that. I felt like our previous fee schedule was actually fairly compliant, but it didn't have per square foot for our residential, which seemed to be a big deal. So that's what I changed with consultation. You'll see it. That's all. Okay.
Thank you. Let's move on to the standing agenda.
Thanks, Ryan. Thank you.
Warrants, motion to approve.
I'll move to accept disbursements in the amount of $5,375,174.99.
I'll second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Devlin and seconded by Commissioner Harris. Any questions or concerns there? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Commissioner report. Virtual peoples, do you have anything?
I have kind of I guess I have a couple items. One, I got lots of votes in the city council race.
Good, congratulations.
A secondary item is just, typically I have not Zoomed these meetings. I try to be in person, but some of our members that's more difficult for. And we really, really need to upgrade our microphone situation. And I would say that we have an adequate budget. I don't know if we want to add a budget item I mean, if I compare my watching a Kenmore City Council meeting, which they actually have a similar budget, every single member has an individual microphone and they turn them on and off so you can hear the audio clearly from every single person who speaks. I mean, they also record it and provide it on YouTube, which, you know, is another step beyond in terms of transparency that we could maybe strive to for the future. But at a minimum, we really have to upgrade our microphone situation just to permit anybody who's on a Zoom to listen or participate actively. So, and yeah, that's all my comments.
Anybody else?
A couple of things, Eric, is it makes it a lot easier when there's an actual dais and the individual mics are all set up and hardwired and all that. We will certainly look into what we can do from a microphone standpoint. We are posting our videos though too. So,
well, one simple solution would be, instead of having a microphone that's on a wire that sits in the middle of the room, we have a remote microphone that has like a Bluetooth connection to the computer and it gets passed around to the active speakers. I mean, I'm sure that there's a technological solution that's not very far away or very expensive.
we'll look into it.
Okay, Mark, do you have anything for commission report?
It's the WICA conference. And it's really, it was great. Pretty nice more what I learned actually for next time. I don't have all this time, but great logic, go. It was a lot. So, that's it.
Went to the conference as well, got a lot out of it, so appreciated the information you gave, so. That's just starting to learn, so.
I was gonna say, even though you're a firefighter, this is a different side of it, so, yeah, there's so much different on you.
I was there too. It was good.
Okay. I too attended all five of us. Attended the fall with the conference. It was pretty good. They had great speakers. A lot of takeaways from it. Matt, I passed down to you
Yeah.
the law changes. A few law changes there that we maybe need to look at. Also attended Medic One auction. It was, they had a goal of over $1 million and they raised it. So that was pretty good. I think that's about it for me. Financial report.
So our target is 45.5, or I'm sorry, our target is 37.5, we're at 45.5, so we're under budget by almost 8%. I looked through the line items, there were some that were, that we've already talked about. There wasn't anything that really surprised me, that popped out at me, but was there anything that popped out at you all? I did send you an email back on the, oh no, that was the budget thing, sorry, that wasn't right. Was there anything that popped out of you guys?
I just noted the overtime suppression is kind of getting down there, but we are closing in the year, so.
Yeah, we're over budget on overtime.
Nothing in there.
That's fine.
Hey, Chief. Hey, Chief.
Yeah.
I got a couple of questions.
Oh, well, Barb was talking first, Aaron.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't hear him.
Just noticed on the PIO salary.
That's on page 4.
It's over 531.
As a reminder, that's a some of that's a shared in and out with the MIH program.
Okay.
That's why, yeah, it's very glaring because it's like, oh, zeros. Yeah, so
Okay,
there's money being transferred back.
thank you.
Within that.
Anything else, Barb?
That's it for me.
Okay, Eric, go ahead.
I didn't quite hear that question. Was that question about MIH?
Yes.
Yeah, I had the same question of just what was going on with the MIH budget.
Okay, if there's no further questions, Matt, did you have anything else to add in there?
No, just, yeah, we're over budget on overtime, but that was predictable.
All right, anything new for strategic activity report?
Just that, I'm hoping early in the part of next week to get a report out from our leadership retreat, which will have strategic goals for the next year. So that will give us a kind of a framework for focusing, as we go into next year and focusing the retreat. There's a lot of things in the retreat, but we really focus in on a number of things. And the big one was communication, and that's part of this report out. And we're expanding some of our executive team and leadership team meetings. And I'm excited to see how that will impact the feedback we get on communication.
Move on to the RFA activity reports. We'll start with Chief Callan. If you want to talk about, maybe, questions?
Congratulations, Gina.
Thank you.
You're at the top of that, of course.
You were. I appreciate you are. I didn't know anything. Anyone else know anything? Okay. Let's move on to Deputy Chief of Science report.
We have anything in the hole for ladder 151?
Meaning what, I'm sorry?
We got something replacing it while it's gone?
Nope. We do not have a ladder in service currently. The existing ladder is down at Hughes in Tacoma, getting the broken rung welded and repaired. The new ladder is not ready to go on service probably for another, we'll say 2 months plus or minus. There's still a lot of upfitting to do. It needs to go back to Hughes and Mount Vernon for some more work. And there's all the training that the crew needs to be doing on it. And the workbooks they need to get through to get up to speed on that. So yeah, we expect that rig to get back from Hughes and the existing ladder to get back from Hughes sometime next week. And the shop does need to do a couple things on it, but our goal is to get that back in service as soon as possible. Our hands were tied a little bit on when we felt we could not wait until the new ladder was in service to get this one repaired, because after Pierce's evaluation of our existing aerial, it was determined that it's not safe to use. So we didn't want to wait to have that repaired. And while it's inconvenient, obviously, operationally, to have that rig out of service, due to the fact that we need to get that rung repaired, and that Hughes is down to, I believe, only one welder out of Tacoma, we have to fit into that schedule as well. So they're busy. That welder is obviously busy down there working on a lot of rigs, and so we had to be a little bit flexible with their timeline where we could get access to that shop. So we did not feel comfortable running around with a aerial that Pierce said it's not safe to be on with a broken rung. And while that is operationally we don't like to be without a ladder. I also also don't like to be with a ladder that we can't really use, right? Unless under extreme circumstances, which makes a judgment call to the crew. So we're trying to get that device back in service so it's safe to use and ready to go. And we're pushing on that as quickly as we can.
Relying on people for a while.
Yes.
Well, hopefully we'll get the ladder on 61 back next week, so that would be nice. And then 142 is
Still has service.
yeah. So we're without a truck across the north end. Yeah.
Who's running that engine?
Hughes brought our new ladder.
I think that's what they were on.
Engine? Well, they're running with the engine, but just not with the truck.
Yeah.
New engine.
Yes, I did hear that they had asked if we could bring the new engine over to the conference for one day. So you probably, if you were there, you probably saw the new engine. Myself and 3 others from the new apparatus committee went up to Hughes yesterday. We did an inspection on the new engine, and there's still some work to do on that rig too. So Hughes is keeping busy, and we're keeping them to task.
Well, they're pretty proud of it.
It's a beautiful rig. Glad you got to see it. Excited to get those rigs in service. We will keep your more information coming on a push-in ceremony for the new apparatus, especially the ladder probably first. We're estimating sometime in January, early January for that. But as soon as we get a kind of a clear picture of when that rig will be in service, we'll be sending that out for a push-in ceremony. Would love to have all of the commissioners that are available to come to be a part of that ceremony. So more to come on that.
The news guy he can get sure of it.
Yeah.
He pointed out some features that were unique that our guys had specified, and apparently a couple of them they're gonna kind of like start featuring on. Pat, I want to ask you about exactly, but I'll get that later.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'm proud of our committee. Captain Eichelman is the chair of our apparatus committee. Big tip of the hat to him and the rest of the members on the committee. They have done an exceptional job of through this process and their attention to detail on it. So
He had some Pierce caps, and I thought he was gonna give me.
we could probably track one down. I know.
We can get you one.
I know. Okay.
Yeah.
So
He wasn't doling them out.
How old is the first ladder truck?
the existing ladder.
Oh.
No.
2017.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we didn't even put it in service. It says 2017, but it's in service for about 7 years, I think.
So if there's
thank
a
you.
well, when a well fails,
It was
It was not.
It was an accident.
It was due to operator error. It was not an accident.
Yeah. I did. I missed the last meeting. So since I've seen you last, I think I have received 2 questions regarding some billing statements. I just wanted to update you on. One was the energy usage at station 51 from PSE. It's obviously a higher number than our other stations, but then again, it's a bigger station than our other stations. So station 51 is served by Puget Sound Energy. Other stations are City of Seattle, Seattle City Light. So there's some rate differences there. Station 51 is obviously a bigger station that is operational most of the time, or 24/7, right? And a lot going on in there with a lot of people every day compared to like station 64 or 57 or something. With Gina's help, we've looked back over the last for a long period of time at the average for that bill at 51, and it consistently, even back to the North Shore days, is sitting between the $5,000 and $6,000 amount per month. So how do we make that better? there's a couple things, obviously, I did look up on the Puget Sound Energy website, and they unfortunately do not offer in-person energy evaluations to give some recommendations. I think we know what those energy recommendations are that we can implement. We have implemented some of them, things on timers, things like that. This goes back to a conversation I had with Commissioner Adman about trying to find some ways so that we can get together maybe in a subcommittee to reduce energy usage and to do that effectively. One of the things I will say is we did convert the apparatus pay lighting to the LED, right? That was a capital project this year, so I hope that we start to see some benefit from that in the bill. I don't know if that'll be enough to trigger something significantly but that's the hope. Additionally, I don't want you to forget that one of the capital items that was approved was a carport for the south side of the drill ground for those 20 spaces. The long-term plan for that, we're broken that project into phases. The long-term plan for that project is to put solar panels on top of that carport, which would feed back into our building. I did a Chief Worms would be proud of me. I did an analysis in ChatGPT this afternoon of our energy usage at 51 and what we would expect for a 20 stall carport with solar panels to be able to do. Again, take it for what it's worth, but ChatGPT says that putting those solar panels in would be on average plus or minus $6,000 annually. That a reduction in our usage. So I don't. Well, that's a easy way of trying to get an estimate. I don't know how much I believe that, if that's an accurate number or not, but that's basically 1 month free every year, and I feel like that's pretty substantial if we're also able to do some other things there to help us. So that was one bill I wanted to get back to you on, but unfortunately that's a consistent bill for years and years and years at that station.
I'm surprised nobody else has said anything.
I'm sure it's been, I'm sure a few people have looked at it a few times. The second bill that was looked at was City of Shoreline wastewater for our shoreline stations. There's $100 to $200 bills for wastewater for all of our stations, except station 64, which is up to a little over $600, where the other stations are $100 to $200. This is a flat rate, and again, with Gina's help, we look back at the bills. This is a flat rate. We're a little unsure why station 64 has a higher flat rate than the other stations. There's no other information that is listed on the billing statement that says why that would be. We're a little hesitant to call and ask for information because once we start comparing it to some of our other stations, they may realize, hey, we're still charging you for the old station 63 versus the new one or something like that. So if you like, I'm happy to make that call and try to get some more information.
Yeah, and it's kind of a catch-22, isn't it?
A little bit, but we'll see. I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, Chief Hochstein,
Yeah.
I'll be happy to follow up with you separately. Maybe you and I can communicate some more, just kind of looking at the concept of efficiencies and, you know, if there's anything that's kind of some low-hanging fruit that we could implement.
Sounds great. Please do. That's all I got.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for Chief Hochstein? Chief Worms is not here, but we can pick on him freely. Moving on, there is no old business, so we'll go on to new business. Final edits of the budget, Chief.
Right, so I handed out to you all some updates that happened, this week as we kind of finalized some of the numbers and started checking some of those numbers. Eric, Josh, and Rick, Tyler, I forwarded you an email that I had sent to Jennifer to put on our website. So if you look in your inbox, you'll see it. I have printed out copies, but obviously you don't have those. And I updated it and sent it out this afternoon. It's not much different than what we had before, except that our annual budget, we're still in the black, but it's 300. Hold on. 300 and 384,000. So I also had Rachel go through and double check formulas and all that. Gina did it last year, but we feel pretty good that we're at that place now. It's still not finalized because we don't have AV from the county, but at this point, I think we can go forward. Pending any questions or concerns that you all have, we can start preparing the resolutions for 2 weeks from now. I am looking to post this, it'll get posted onto the website too, so that there's public, transparency. Any questions? Yeah, she.
Thank you.
There is no contract with DOT.
There is actually, well, the DOT building that we have down here is one that we need to pursue. It's got fired by the church, but I'd like to update that contract. Yeah, a little more.
Okay. So I mean, it wasn't listed somewhere.
So it's not listed because we need to update the contract.
Yeah, if you see, I believe I have it.
Yeah, we talked about that before.
I agree.
Yeah, if you look at the third page, there's a little note down below the service contracts that should be, there's 74,000 in fire traffic church, but I believe that they should be charging more. It's on my radar, just haven't gotten to it yet.
Easy to negotiate with.
No, they're not.
But either was first so sorry.
There's a lot of concrete in that building. It would be a content fire if it was. So.
to scribble, I was just looking at the different percent rates.
Okay. I don't want to go on.
All right, thank you.
We're done. Let's move on to resolution 25.
So this is the post-employment medical benefits program resolution, which we need to update for CPI each year, but as Doug has already stated, we're also looking at ending this program with 3 years notice. There is benefits to both sides of having this program. But we also have recognized that it's a fairly significant, long-term liability for the department as well. And we have put some incentives into it as part of the negotiations. It's not tied to the negotiations because it's a resolution by the board, but it was something that we discussed extensively in negotiations. And we have put some incentives into the CBAs to hopefully address, and maybe not to the same level, but hopefully get the notification and so forth in a similar fashion to prevent us from having huge swings in our staffing. The real benefit to us is being able to, especially on the medic side, Doug was absolutely right on this. Forecasting out our vacancies and our paramedics is super important for us to avoid being, because it takes over a year to get paramedics to graduate and then onto the street. It's really a benefit to make sure that we're forecasting out those vacancies in time to get them into the paramedic program and the training program. So there's definitely some benefits, but there's also definitely some significant costs. And as you'll see in the packet here, for example, we're looking at 2026. If it's at the top tier, we're looking at $1,200 a month. So in your primary, going all the way down to $683, per month, if in your prime plus 4 plus. So depending on where people are at, that's our liability piece of it, up to Medicare age. And so we talked about this as a leadership team. We talked about this in negotiations. Frankly, we were thinking that this would have been at the beginning of the year, and coincide with some of the other changes. For example, we changed the step raises for probationary firefighters that are coming into the system from probation up through top step firefighter. We're back to the original step raises, which was a piece of the original resolution, that if this resolution ever went away, then we would go back to those previous step raises. So we are not going to see any savings in those step raises like we had previously. We are incentivizing by increasing to 75% on cash out for sick leave in both the uniform and the chief officer CBAs, hopefully, as long as there's notification to the department. So we're hoping that some of this will help offset and still get notification in time, especially on the paramedic side.
Chief, did you,
Go ahead.
did you say that you wanted to have some discussion in an executive session on this? Did we add that to the agenda or did we not add that?
We could, because it's something that potentially would fall into negotiations as well. I was actually talking about an executive session to talk about the chief officer CBA. But we can talk about both. They're both negotiable items.
Okay.
These monthly amounts are irrespective of marital status, right?
Correct. You get a year of the credit for every 100 hours of sick leave that you have on the books at the end of your at retirement. So yes, it has nothing to do with marital status. That would be our HRAD, but that's dependent.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. The premiums are some of these are in excess of what a premium would really be.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, the intent of this is a good one.
Yeah.
It's just costly for the department.
I understand it. Matter of fact, I would like to put that in.
Excuse me for a minute. This is Commissioner Rick Webster. I have to leave for a little bit. Just want to let you know.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Rick.
And certainly to Eric's point, if we want to talk about this in executive session, we can do so. There are two pieces to this. We do need to pass the resolution at least on the CPI increase, but we're also asking to end it. So if you want to talk about it further in an executive session, we can. But we are looking for a motion to approve this as written.
I guess I'd probably be looking for a little more detailed discussion before voting on it myself.
Okay.
Session it is. Let's move on then.
Okay, so we'll table this and then take action or potential action after executive session.
Officers collective bargaining agreement.
We can also talk about that in executive session if you'd like, but we have talked, most of the changes that are in the chief officer CBA have already been discussed because they're part of the uniform CBA. Really, the biggest difference is that the chief officer CBA, when looking at comparables, is reflecting a 7% increase, not a 4.68. That's the biggest difference between them. There's a couple other smaller things, you know, and so forth, but if you want to go into executive session to talk about the chief officer CBA, we can do so as well. Or if you have questions right now or ready to, you know, pass the chief officer CBA, we can do that too.
With regard to the chief officer CBA, labor and management have both signed off on that, correct?
Correct. It was TA'd and then it's also been approved and voted on and approved by the represented, you know, personnel in the chief officer CBA, which is what, 9, I believe it's 9. And they have voted to approve it. I typically do not bring it to the board until I have not only a TA but a union approved, because sometimes if they don't approve it, then we have to go back to the negotiating board, you know, negotiating table, so I don't typically bring it to you until it's been approved by the union. So they have voted to approve it, and so now it's just pending, you know, board approval.
Sure. Okay, but with regard to the post-employment medical benefit resolution, because it's a resolution that is not gone through labor management.
It's a resolution that is dependent on your approval or, you know, passing or whatever. We discussed it extensively in negotiations, but it is not something that is tied to negotiations. That makes sense? Okay.
Chief, I'm a little confused myself. When this came up a meeting or two ago, I thought this was something that had been negotiated with the union in the contract. So
Yes, so, well, there are pieces, it's kind of complicated, I guess. There are pieces that are in the CBA that are specific to, and the step raises that I already talked about, for example, the step raises for a firefighter coming in, probably up to top step. We changed that within the uniform CBA to reflect it that the post-employment medical benefits was going to go away. Because it was the original resolution for B&B, it specifically states that if it is to go away, that the step raises would go back to the original step raises, which is 70, 80, 90, 100%. And so those are in the uniform CBA, which is already ratified. Yeah, and so it's complicated because they are kind of tied together, but they're really not legally tied together. So there are pieces, and for example, we increased the cash out for sick leave from 50% to 75%, as long as notification was given to the department in a similar fashion to the post-employment medical benefits program. That was to reflect, hopefully to incentivize in a similar way to post-employment medical. You know, so again, another example of things that are tied together, but there's not a legal tying of these things. A resolution is a board resolution. It is not something that is, you know, within the CBAs and all that. However, there is definitely crossover that we did discuss extensively in negotiations, which is why in negotiations we agreed to change the step raises and we changed the incentivization on the sick leave cash.
Yeah, I also had a similar impression that there had been some kind of discussion of the relative impact of these, the change in the step raises, the sick leave buyout, and the post-employment medical benefit resolution. But that there was some general agreement that had been come to on that. So I guess I would probably need to go through a little more detailed discussion myself to kind of look at the relative impacts financially to the district and to the members of the bargaining unit if we implement this change. You know, I guess it seems like it's going to potentially require a little more detailed discussion, given that it seems to be not in agreement. I understand it's a unilateral thing that's offered, but at the same time, if we're now proposing to terminate it and that's not in agreement, I think it's worth us looking more carefully at the implications of it.
The union doesn't have a say in what happens with this resolution, but we can certainly talk about it in more detail in executive session.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, Chief, I would appreciate a more detailed discussion on this topic as well. I'm with Commissioner Admin. I was under the impression that this had been agreed to by the union, that they were giving up the post-medical or the post-employment medical in lieu of these changes in the CBA. So if that's not the case, then we need to have a more robust conversation around this. If that needs to be an executive session, then that's what we need to do.
I would just say that the way that he described the program tonight, he invented the program. I mean, didn't invent it, what it was done. What he said tonight was exactly remembering what the program was, and he said then that it was not temporary, but could be ended at any time. At the time, I remember wondering why we were doing this at all. But at the time, I think we had a lot of people nearing retirement who was trying to get a handle on retirement timing and stuff for staffing. So all I'm saying is he hasn't changed anything from what it was when it was put into effect. It's just the department apparently has decided it's best to end it now.
I remember we talked about it being temporary.
Well, why don't we put this in the executive session?
what about chief officers, collective bargaining agreement? Or is that part of
It's up to you. It's up to the board. If you have any questions or any concerns about.
kind of separated the two of them out?
Well, and they are separate, but we can talk about both in executive session, or we can, if you want to act on the chief officer CBA, that's fine too.
I guess my only other question would just be, is it applicable for executive session? What the the various language of what, I guess if it's technically not bargaining per se, if it's just a commissioner resolution, maybe, I would just have executive session or not, but if you're certain that it's appropriate for executive session and we can quote the appropriate reference, then I think let's do that and discuss it. And if it's not, then we can just discuss it.
I'm really confused because we've got two different resolutions here and we keep flip-flopping back and forth. Haven't we tabled the, medical until executive session, and now we're looking at the chief officers collective bargaining agreement, which has nothing to do with the post-medical, correct? Thank you. So we keep flip-flopping back and forth with the discussion. So can we stick to one topic, please? Bringing it back to our current topic of chief officers collective bargaining agreement for January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2027. It sounds like the union has approved this.
Yes.
Okay, so do we need executive session to cover this? Thank you. Zoom lab.
Everybody's shaking their head no.
Okay, can we have a vote on this one?
I would move to authorize the governing board of commissioners to sign and adopt resolution 25
Where are you?
that's the wrong one.
Yes.
Talking about,
It's a big packet.
yeah, he's screwed up too. I move to authorize the Shoreline Fire Department RFA governing board to approve the chief officer collective bargaining agreement for January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2027.
Thank you, Commissioner Harris. Do we have a second?
Also,
Ron, Commissioner Hillwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we've got a couple more on the agenda before we adjourn to executive session. Future board meeting locations. Chief?
So, we started to discuss this at a previous meeting about, we have conflicts, for part of the year, next year, at Station 51, and whether or not, we wanted to, we need to at least move those meetings up to 61, but the question was, do we move all of the meetings up to 61 from 51 and have both the District 4 and 16 meetings both here with the RFA, or work around the conflicts that we have at 51?
I know Beatrice has got to pack up by about 2:30, 3 o'clock to go down to North Shore to set up. That's quite a bit of a chunk of her time. Just saying.
Personally, I would still prefer to have the meetings go back and forth. It just feels more like we're not completely taking all the business of the district out of North Shore. And it certainly is more convenient for the North Shore commissioners to be able to attend in person. So I think going back and forth, while there is some inconvenience for staff, I think it just keeps it on an even footing, and I would prefer to continue to do that, understanding that we have to work around some logistic.
Barb, any comments, thoughts on that?
Well, I personally don't mind going back and forth.
Rod?
You're gonna come, I hope you would be either way, I guess. I do think imposition of vehicles.
I am concerned about Beatrice.
That's my biggest concern. you're thinking about what you think. You don't have to back up and wait for it. In a position. Or
The idea was presented to us from staff. Um, I- you know, I don't know. Be interesting. It is a cost. He charges mileage to drive back and forth. You know, a little time and it's home late. But it's, I don't know.
At this point, I wasn't here when we agreed to this, but kind of, should probably stick with what we agreed with.
We agreed to do it throughout the year. So now that we're towards the end of the year, we look at it.
I don't mind going back and forth, but what's the cost to Beatrice? Time. Well, and it's taken away from her other work.
It takes away from all of our staff work, because we have to come in and prepare, and then it's not as easy to set up because it's just, we're not as familiar with that. We go away with more experience would give us a better, familiarity with 51s, but it's time.
I'd like to speak. I feel the same as Commissioner Admin. I think it's good to have us going back and forth to North Shore and Shoreline. It's something that we kind of promised to the people that we would keep them involved in everything, and I think that we should hold true to that.
There you go.
Well, it sounds like, Chief, that the consensus is to go back and forth, so. Maybe we can reevaluate in 2020.
Well, we are gonna have to change, for a few months anyway, in 26.
So what are the dates then?
February through May,
February to May? Maybe at 61s?
yes.
Okay, next on the list, board signatures.
So one of the things from an efficiency standpoint that we're looking at doing to help is what you've done tonight is, instead of signing this to use your electronic signatures and solely, instead of preparing these things and sharing them, that we just rely on, electronic signatures. We don't need, we've already got everything in place to legally do this. We're just looking for board consensus on this. Or not. I mean, that's up to the board.
Well, from moving, getting back and forth, it only makes sense to use the electronic signature. You can't sign it on Zoom.
That is one of the challenges that we're having is just, nothing against you guys. I mean, this is what helps increase our attendance because if you're not here physically, you can at least come in remotely, but how do we catch up with the signatures? It's a bunch of work.
It makes total sense to me.
I'm a little uncomfortable with it, but it's consensus of the board, and that's what it is.
Thank you.
Zoomland?
Yeah, I think that the e-signatures thing makes sense just because it is actually difficult to collect all the signatures physically. So I think we don't end up with all the signatures, and our North Shore board previously had already implemented the e-signature process. So I think it works, and I think that is something which also I think staff had requested, and I don't see any issues with it.
Anybody else in Zoomland?
Yeah, I'll just add my 2 cents here. I'm fully in favor of e-signatures. We use them for 2 to 3 years on the North Shore side. It's very efficient. It got legal buy off I don't see a compelling reason to not move in that direction.
Yeah. Next on the agenda, January 1st board meeting schedule.
So what we're looking at is moving the January 1 meeting to January 8th, and the January, was it the 15th to the 22nd. Basically, because of the January 1 meeting, we're just going to bump 1 week on both the meetings in January.
Sorry, Chief. That's Jan 1 to Jan 8, and then Jan 15 to the 20.
22nd, correct.
Any comments or yes or no's or conflicts?
Good idea.
No conflicts. That sounds good.
Okay,
Looks good to me.
let's go ahead and move it then, Chief. And then, looking at projected agendas really quick. Lisa will have excused absence tonight. It looks like Commissioner Nye, has excused absence next meeting. Anything for December 4th or 18th? 18th, Commissioner Adams will not be here. Nothing else? All right. Executive session.
I have it, like,
Yes.
adjourning into executive session under RCW 42.20.140 to talk about negotiations of negotiable items. So, I believe that we will move by 15 minutes,
15?
right? Is that too optimistic?
Well, let's start with 15. We can always.
We'll go
come back
15.
out and-
15 minutes, so give us a minute. And then, take the look. 6:47, so maybe start at 6:50 and we'll come back at 7:05. Does that sound reasonable? Okay.
Sounds good.
Can I leave?
I'm fine with you staying. Like, well, it's not my call, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I have no problem with it. So we just take dugout or we like?
Yeah, just, kick Doug out.
Swearing you secrecy. Do you have a knife so you can cut your finger?
Would it be easier if I just came back later?
No, we'll be back.
we just can't officially do anything until 7/10.
Doug, are you still there?
I am.
I did text them that we were gonna go 5 more minutes. Doug, are you there?
I'm here.
I think they all froze.
I'm gonna have to jump off this meeting. So we'll see you on the next one.
Okay.
I think everything's done voting for tonight, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. All right, thanks, Tyler.
Okay. All right, see you guys. Bye.
Have a good night.
Well, he was there before, he just, oh, there he is.
Hey Doug, before I forget, I'm gonna call you on my way home.
If he doesn't call you, you call him. All right, we're just waiting for 7:10 to roll around, and there it is. Okay, we're officially out of executive session now. And, decision, guys? Sorry. Table. Table. Zoom, table.
Table.
Yeah, my preference is to table it.
Okay. It sounds like, our decision is gonna be to table this. We'd like to dive into it a little bit more and get some more information, so it's tabled until next meeting. It is 7:10. If there is no further business, motion to adjourn.
Was there-
All right, bye, Zoom.
Was there,
Night.